that is unusual is done by this particular bureau. That's our bomb squad. It's our bomb dogs. It's our search dogs. It's all of that.
We're the elite of the elite. Every day, every night that you come to work, you do things that other agencies only strive to achieve.
You're looking at some of the biggest state-of-the-art toys and gadgets in keeping all of us safe. Command posts, bomb squad trucks, SWAT trucks, boats, choppers, motorbikes, and more.
All of you do amazing work, noble work, work that the majority of society can't do, don't know how to do, and don't want to do.
Selfie, anyone? Even these hard-working cops couldn't help hamming it up in front of their favorite toys before they had to head back to the everyday reality of fighting crime. I'm Anna Marcos for LA This Week.
Other units that help make up the Counterterrorism and Special Ops Bureau include Air Support, Metro, and Major Crimes units. The contributions of women are being celebrated throughout the month of March, and LA City Council's only female member paid special tribute to them in council chambers. Yana Kay has more.
Presenting a proclamation to the Commission on the Status of Women in City Council chambers earlier this month, Councilmember Nury Martinez paid tribute to historical female figures during the city's celebration of Women's History Month.
This month we celebrate the many victories women have fought and won, such as the right for education, the right to vote, and the right for equal pay.
Councilmember Martinez referenced several women who made a major impact on history, including Susan B. Anthony, Harriet Tubman, and Sonia Sotomayor. She also mentioned one of her personal heroes, LA County Supervisor Gloria Molina.
I challenge myself to live up to their legacy and encourage the next generation of women to lead in Los Angeles.
For her contribution, Martinez announced the launch of a Ready for Women initiative to inspire women everywhere to run for office.
I am committed to reaching out to women throughout the city to make sure they understand that they have a right to sit at the same table as I do.
One day later, in conjunction with Women's History Month, Martinez also recognized the contributions Latinas have made in society.
Latinas today are breaking barriers and pioneering fields our mothers can only dream of.
Martinez was supported by members of the advocacy organization called HOPE, or Hispanas Organized for Political Equality.
Latina History Day celebrates contemporary Latinas who are working and building the foundation for future generations.
A foundation that hopefully will lead to great things. I'm Yana Kay for LA This Week.
Various events throughout Los Angeles, including an art exhibit opening, are taking place to celebrate Women's History Month. In just a few short hours, volunteers made an important difference at the Bayona wetlands. As Anita Bennett reports, dozens of people took part in an effort to clean up trash from the area.
With shovels and buckets, volunteers removed trash and debris from Bayona Creek and the surrounding wetlands.
We're picking up trash that will run to the ocean, down to the ocean if we don't do it.
The nonprofit Bayona Creek Renaissance organized the cleanup on a recent Saturday morning. Area families and students joined the effort, along with City Councilman Mike Bonin.
It's always important to be doing more to make our neighborhoods cleaner and more livable and more beautiful. And it's also very important to be protecting the environment.
Located on the west side, Bayona Creek is a 9-mile-long flood control channel that runs to the Pacific Ocean. It was designed to control urban runoff, but visitors often leave behind trash.
We're always interested in what our volunteers pick up. We get some really curious things sometimes.
That includes cigarette butts, bottles, food wrappers, and coffee cups.
People may not realize that we have wetlands right here in Los Angeles, and without our help, without our protection, this is an environment that could really be harmed.
Organizers say the garbage people leave behind harms wildlife like ducks and migratory birds. It also pollutes the ocean. But efforts like this are a major step towards cleaning up the problem. I'm Anita Bennett for LA This Week.
For more information on how you can help, go to bayonacreek.org. The next cleanup is scheduled for Saturday, April 19th. A Hollywood heavyweight encourages children to read before they watch his film. As Gil Reyes reports, it's part of the program at the upcoming LA Harbor International Film Festival.
Movie director Randall Kleiser, whose numerous film credits include Grease and Honey, I Shrunk the Kids, is revisiting one of his old classics, the 1991 Disney picture White Fang, from the novel of the same name.
And the interesting thing is that they're having students, 1,000 students, read the book by Jack London, White Fang, and then see the movie. And I'll be talking to them about how we adapted the movie from a novel to a film.
Read the Book, See the Movie is a program taking place at the upcoming LA Harbor International Film Festival. At the official press launch and luncheon, organizers say the festival will be collaborating with schools to help inspire a love for reading and movies.
It also showcases our beautiful Water Grand Theater, which is in downtown San Pedro, a lovely lady who was built in 1931. And so it's a beautiful combination of all the best of the harbor. Beautiful content, beautiful locations, and a wonderful small seaside town.
Come on out to the movies and enjoy.
The LA Harbor International Film Festival will run from March 27th to March 30th. In San Pedro, Gil Reyes for LA This Week.
For a complete festival guide, log on to laharborfilmfest.com. And if you are a movie buff, then you know what it's like watching a movie on an IMAX screen. And now the company that makes all that movie magic happen is raising the curtain on a new location right here in Los Angeles. Yana Kay reports.
This may look like a barren dirt lot, but in about a year, it will be home to the West Coast headquarters of IMAX Corporation, which has seen its best box office quarter ever, according to the company's CEO.
Really, to facilitate that growth and to facilitate our transition to digital, we needed a world-class facility. We needed to be in Los Angeles, and we needed a place that would make us proud.
Mayor Eric Garcetti and other company executives broke ground at the Playa Vista site, which, once completed, will feature a state-of-the-art modern 3-story building.
This is huge for Los Angeles, not only because IMAX screens are big, but because the jobs that will be here will have people spending money in the neighborhoods.
IMAX will be moving from its current location in Santa Monica to the Playa Vista commercial campus. Its 120 employees are expected to transfer over to the new facility, which will have plenty of room to add new employees.
This is huge. This is amazing. This is exciting. This is exactly the kind of shot in the arm we need to make the economy, the new economy in Los Angeles, grow and prosper.
The 66,000 square foot building will feature outdoor patios, a grand lobby with an interior atrium, and will also house 2 large screening rooms. Once the IMAX facility is completed, it will become part of this growing and developing Playa Vista community, and city officials hope it will bring even more big business to the area. I'm Yana Kay for LA This Week.
IMAX is also headquartered in New York and Toronto and has offices in London, Tokyo, Shanghai, and Beijing. The Playa Vista building is expected to be completed in 2015. The man who broke the color barrier in the NFL is honored by the city. Another police station opens a little free library, and how you can go shopping and help your local park at the same time. These stories and more in City Beat. The intersection of Broadway and Lincoln Park Avenue in Lincoln Heights was recently dedicated as Kenny Washington Square. Washington broke the color barrier in professional football in 1946 when he became the first African American to sign a contract in the modern-day NFL with the newly relocated Los Angeles Rams.
What does really amaze me is what's happening here. You know, he's been gone a long time now, and the people here in his home neighborhood still remember.
Kenny Washington is part of our history, but he's more than that. He's an inspiration for all the young men and women who come to this community, who want a better future, and he's their source of inspiration.
After his retirement from football, Washington became a distinguished police officer for the Los Angeles Police Department. The LAPD Olympic Area Station on Vermont Avenue recently unveiled its Little Free Library within the station lobby. The Little Free Library is different from a traditional library because you don't need a library card to check out a book. You are, however, encouraged to help restock the shelves by contributing a book back to the library to share with other members of the community.
The purpose of this is, besides literacy and encouraging kids to read, is the open door of a police station, welcoming kids in and just hopefully, building a relationship with the community.
The project was made possible with help from the nonprofit A Chance for Children Foundation and the Olympic Booster Association. Councilmember Paul Koretz credits the determination and persistence of the community in getting Woodbine Park renovated. Renovations at the park at 3409 Vinton Avenue include a refurbished basketball court and picnic areas, new lighting, and an upgraded children's play area. New walking paths will also encourage residents to take leisurely strolls at the park and to spend time enjoying the park's new landscaping and other amenities. 11 Los Angeles city parks have been selected for Macy's Heart Your Park program, including the Van Ness Recreation Center. All you have to do between now and March 31st is donate $1 or more at the register when you shop at select Macy's, with 100% of the donations benefiting that Macy's designated park. Macy's will match the total customer donation across all stores, dollar for dollar, up to $250 in total. Donations will go toward maintaining trails, playgrounds, ball fields, and many other required park improvements. Each Macy's is assigned to one park in its neighborhood, so when you shop at your Macy's of choice, ask which park benefits from your donations. Other parks chosen for the Macy's Heart Your Park program include the Eagle Rock Hillside Park, the Runyon Canyon Dog Park, and Cheviot Hills Park. From epic fantasies to love stories, these page-turners have captured the imagination of young readers everywhere, and now those teenagers have a chance to meet their favorite authors. Yana Kay has more.
Sasha Cusimano is getting her book, Beautiful Creatures, signed by its author Margaret Stoll at this LA Central Library book signing. The young reader says the love story has helped open her eyes to the world of books.
I'm here to meet Margaret Stoll because she inspired me for reading. I used to hate reading, but she inspired me to be an avid reader and to love and enjoy reading.
This book signing event held at the Los Angeles Public Library featured 6 authors whose books are geared towards the teen demographic.
I think it's really important to encourage teenagers to read. They're a really wonderful element of the reading public that is a little underserved right now, not a lot of events for them, so it's wonderful to get out here and to see them be so enthusiastic about books.
The book signing also engaged the audience with a Q&A session and discussion panel, all in an effort to
promote reading, to promote these authors' books, and just to build some excitement about books for teenagers in Los Angeles.
Covering a variety of genres from fantasy to sci-fi to love stories, these books, categorized as YA for young adults, offer something for every teenager.
I write young adult novels, and it's nice just to see the stories of all the published authors here and just hear about their writing process.
Another young reader is hooked on author Anna Carey's Rise, the final book in the Eve trilogy about a young heroine who embarks on a journey to find herself in a post-apocalyptic world. The teenager made sure she didn't miss meeting the author who brought the story to life.
We are avid readers and we loved these books and we really wanted to meet these authors, so we came today to get our books signed.
A generation of young readers that these authors hope will turn into adult readers. I'm Yana Kay for LA This Week.
For more information on upcoming events at the Los Angeles Public Library, visit lapl.org. And in this week's list of things to do, the Los Angeles Ballet, the Los Angeles Seafood Festival, and whale watching. The Los Angeles Ballet presents Quartet, a mixed program of both renowned and new works selected by artistic directors Thordal Christensen and Colleen Neary. It takes place on Saturday, March 22nd from 7:30 to 9:30 p.m. at UCLA's Royce Hall. Quartet features 4 dances by Jerry Killian, Christopher Stoll, Sonia Taye, and George Balanchine. UCLA's Royce Hall is located at 340 Royce Drive. For ticket prices and other details, go to losangelesballet.org. Olvera Street will be hosting the Los Angeles Seafood Festival on Sunday, March 23rd from 10 a.m. to 6 p.m. An estimated 15,000 people are expected to attend the festival and taste a full menu of seafood cuisine provided by all types of food vendors and local restaurants. Clam dishes, ceviche, fish and chips, seafood boil, and paella are just a few of what can be expected at the festival. Attendees can also enjoy arts and crafts vendors and live entertainment. Olvera Street is located right across the street from Union Station at Main Street and Cesar Chavez Avenue. Go to lafoodfestivals.com for details. On Sunday, March 23rd, join Cabrillo Marine Aquarium Programs Director Larry Fukuhara for an informative and fun slide presentation about the fascinating life of the Pacific gray whale in the John M. Olguin Auditorium. Following the presentation, head out to sea on a local whale watching vessel in search of gray whales, other marine mammals, and sea life. The complete whale watch event takes place from 8:30 a.m. to noon. The Cabrillo Marine Aquarium is located at 3720 Stephen M. White Drive in San Pedro. To find out the cost or to make reservations, call 310-548-7562. And that's a look at some upcoming things to do. Runners endured unusually high temperatures to cross the finish line at this year's LA Marathon. Gil Reyes reports.
It was a near-record crowd made up of all types. Some wore kilts, others wore tutus, and some even wore blindfolds.
I'm going to run the first 13.1 miles blindfolded, then we're going to switch off. Michael's going to put on the blindfold, and I'm going to guide him the second half of the marathon.
Kevin Nagayama and Michael Bunch represent the group Blind Start of America, an organization dedicated to helping the visually impaired and others overcome their challenges. And what better way to raise awareness than at this challenge, the 26.2-mile LA Marathon.
So far, it's been good for me. How about you, Ben? Very interesting experience.
A total of 21,829 runners from all 50 states and 55 nations laced up their sneakers to prove their mettle, mainly to themselves. For the 5th straight year, the race stretched from Dodger Stadium to Santa Monica. And at 81 degrees, it was the hottest race day ever recorded for the Stadium to the Sea course.
Rock that hill! Rock that hill! Woo! You know, the effort and the energy that they put into it is phenomenal.
Police and firefighters stood by to aid almost 100 runners. 16 of them sent to area hospitals for problems such as dehydration and chest pains, about twice the usual number according to the LA City Fire Department. For those who finished, it's a personal victory, feeling the heat but going the distance on one of the most challenging race days in years. At the LA Marathon, Gil Reyes for LA This Week.
The heat was also blamed for slightly lower times this year. That's going to do it for this edition. Thanks for joining us. I'm Ellen Chang. A reminder that you could catch us online at lacityview.org. You can also follow and like us on Facebook. We'll see you back here next week for more of LA This Week.
Bulky item pickup? Call 311, the toll-free number for non-emergency services. 311, your one call to City Hall.
What's with all the zombies?
Alert LA County takes the surprise out of disasters like zombie attacks. And without surprise, they're out of a job.
Alert LA County is a free automated system which sends out information about emergency events via telephone, text, and email.
Any skills besides flesh eating? Pick that up.
Events may include disasters, evacuations, safety notices, and if necessary, zombie attacks.
Next.
Register at alert.lacounty.gov.
Hi, I'm Craig Irwin in Los Angeles.
Hi, I'm Trenton Irwin, and you're watching LA City View, Channel 35, Our City, Our Channel.
Good morning. Good morning. Shh. If I could please ask you to take your seats. Today is Friday, March 21st. Welcome to your Los Angeles City Council chambers. Madam Clerk, we do not have a quorum at this time, but I do believe we can start off our day with the presentation portion of today's agenda. So I'd like to call forward Mr. Labange. Mr. Labange, if you would begin things today.
Mikhail Montoya, very special honoree today. I'm doing this on behalf of the great Councilman Nury Martinez, who's out. But let's give this young lady, Miss Montoya, a big hand right here. As you know, and our council colleague, Nury Martinez, set us off on the right step. The entire month of March, we recognize many of the achievement of women. And Governor Brown has proclaimed the third week in March as Women's Military History Week to honor contributions to those who served in the armed forces. Today here in California, women make up 8% of California's veteran population, more than any other state in the United States. The number of women and veterans is projected to increase to 1/5 of all military recruits nationwide. Today, I would like to recognize the very special work of one of these veterans, Army Specialist Mikhail Montoya. Give her a big hand. Served for 8 years in the California Army National Guard, Army Reserves, and she was deployed in Iraq on the field and saw the fire of war. Many female vets don't identify as veterans, leading problems that services and care and specialists are not there for them, but they are. There's an outreach going on. After returning from Iraq, Ms. Montoya realized the lack of public awareness and service available, and she is a spokeswoman in this efforts here. Understanding these challenges that people are experiencing, often when they hear from someone who's been there, they're encouraged to help and reach out. Whether it's issues of homelessness, being single parent, advocates are all very important. She's been featured on CNN, ABC, World News, The Oprah Winfrey Show, and all discussion about female vets. Please join me in recognizing Ms. Montoya for her work in advocating for women veterans across the country, her contribution to the United States of America, and her commitment in this way here. And a special, because she's from Rosemead, California, which is just a sister city to the east of us here in the San Gabriel Valley. Let's hear it for our veteran there, Ms. Montoya. Good job. All right, we got it all. We're going to hold that. I'll hold that right up there. She has a beautiful family here, but I'm going to have her say some words and also the encouragement, especially those who watch on Channel 35, because when you're encouraged, and we saw the other day we had Chloe Kim here. Chloe Kim is 14 years old and is a half-pipe skier. And to see her work was unbelievable. And I said, she is fearless. Being a veteran, you have to be fearless because you've represented our country in dark moments at dark places, and you've come out strong. So, reserve officer, veteran, all things good. Montoya, I want you to say a few words for all of us.
Thank you so much, everyone, for having me here today. I served in the Army for 8 years, and I'm glad to be here and represent the female population in the military. I think we need more voices out there, and I just want to encourage other female veterans to speak out and represent. We're here, and we're proud, and we continue to serve in the military. Thank you so much.
You betcha.
Sorry, I'm kind of nervous.
Give her another round of applause.
Wait a second. We have a Mr. Santana is our CAO. I don't know if he's here right now. We have a great Congressman Cardenas who's here. But Mr. Santana is our CAO, right? Yes. Everybody loves Mr. Santana, right? Yes. Well, I want you to meet another Santana real quick here. Come up and you're going to love this. I'm sorry the CAO is not here. This is the pride and joy of this veteran, a single parent who does such a great job. Look at Mr. Santana. Huh? That should be. So we welcome everybody there. This is very special. And Mr. President, on behalf of Nury Martinez and her staff, On behalf of Mayor Garcetti and the Office of Veterans Affairs, let's give our specialist here, Montoya. I'm going too fast there, officer. I'd get knocked down in the battlefield going too fast. I got to be smart and sharp like you. Let's give her a big hand. Thanks so much. We're going to go in the back. Okay, good job. We're going to go right over there. We got to get a specialist right here.
Okay, thank you again, Mr. Labonge. Thank you very much. Mr. Huizar, would you like to proceed with one of your presentations?
Debbie.
Would you like to proceed? So at this time, I'd like to defer to Mr. Huizar.
Oh, he wants to do Oi first.
Which one are you going to do?
We're doing. We're ready for Nowruz if you're ready for that.
I'm ready for whatever you want to do.
Thank you.
And if we're going to do Nowruz, Mr. Huizar, I'd like to just take a moment, if I can, and present the man that made sure that we celebrated this very, very important occasion. A dear friend to all communities, an individual who is one of the most sensitive individuals that I've ever served with. This is so important to him that he is here all the way from Washington, D.C. He is our dear friend, former colleague, the newly elected congressperson from our council here, an individual that was born to many, many challenges himself. I think he comes from a family of 10. His dad was a gardener, wasn't a bunch of money in the family. He's a perfect example of the American dream. Could we please give our congressperson, Tony Cardenas, a round of applause? Welcome, my dear friend. Welcome. Mr. Huizar, the floor is yours.
Mr. President, and you must have some deep affection for Mr. Cardenas, our congressman. That was the longest introduction I've ever heard you make for anybody who comes to these chambers. But thank you and good morning, everyone. And as you all know, we are one of the most diverse cities in the world. A big part of what makes us unique as Angelenos is that we embrace our diversity. We celebrate the beauty of our communities and our many cultures. And so today I am extremely honored to join my colleagues, Mr. Koretz, Congressmember Cardenas, and everyone, all the council members here, to celebrate, along with our city attorney and our controller, to celebrate across our wonderful city in recognizing and announcing the coming of spring with Nowruz, the Persian New Year. Before I begin, I would like to ask all our Persian City employees, if you're not already standing, to please stand up and be recognized, and let's give them a big round of applause. Thank you for your service to the city of Los Angeles. You know, the most recent figures tell us that there are more than 300 Iranian Americans who work in various professional capacities in the city of Los Angeles. Interestingly, the diversity in their ethnic and religious background, by Jewish, Armenian, and Muslim, represents the strength of diversity within the Persian community as well. The majority of Iranian Americans in the city are engineers, with the greatest concentration in public works, the Department of Water and Power, the Department of Transportation, and Building and Safety. And get this, the city of Los Angeles is the single largest non-Iranian employer of Iranian professionals outside of Iran, and that's very important. Many of the Iranian Americans in the city entered civil service and have proudly served this great city and her residents for over 2 decades. That is amazing, and this city would not be the same without the contributions Persians have made to other industries and development in the city as well, especially the textile industry. Through the Nowruz celebration, the Persian American community brings hundreds of years of culture, history, and rich tradition to the city of Los Angeles. Nowruz proclaims spring as a time of rejuvenation of nature, rekindling of friendships, and bringing about hope for a brighter future for all. It is truly a time of celebration and strengthening of our common resolve to be better and do better. Along with the celebration of Nowruz each year, the Persian American community of Los Angeles reaches out to all of our diverse communities and contributes to forming citywide relationships and bonds that truly make Los Angeles a special and unique place. The Persian community continues to contribute immensely to the entire city of Los Angeles, and for that, we are thankful. May we all be blessed in the coming year with a gift of love and peace, and may all Angelinos find success and prosperity in the new Persian year. Best wishes to all. Happy New Year, Nowruz Mubarak. And now, ladies and gentlemen, my great council member colleague, my policy mate, as he once called me, Councilmember Koretz.
Well, thank you, Jose, and thank you for sponsoring this event at City Hall. And I'm particularly proud to represent the district that has the largest Persian community anywhere outside Iran. My district also has the designation of Persian Square, which is the location of the first Iranian businesses in Los Angeles. And I'm happy to see so many business owners and friends from my district and beyond who are here today. And I also want to thank Tony Cardenas for starting this tradition at City Hall. And it's not because there were a lot of Persians in his district either. I think there's one. I'm not sure if he's still there. But he did it because this is an important community in the city of Los Angeles, and for reasons that I don't understand, they've never gotten this kind of recognition, and it was very important. So I thank you, Tony, for doing this, and let's give him a big hand. Now, the one thing I wanted to note, some people here know about it and some people don't. There is an ongoing project in honor of Cyrus, who is one of the world's great historic figures, and certainly the Persian community's great historic figures. In his memory and in his honor, there is an effort to, through a competition, create a freedom sculpture that is going to be located in Century City at the end of the process. So I wanted to recognize that. We're working with a lot of the Persian community on that. It's a great effort and another opportunity to recognize the Persian community, both a humble community, but at the same time, probably the most successful immigrant community in the history of the United States, and that's saying something. So thank you all for being here, and it's our honor to join with you today. Eid Shoma Mubarak.
Thank you very much, Council Member, and thank you for your support of organizing today's festivities. They've been very helpful. And now, ladies and gentlemen, we have a very special presentation. Can you all please see the screen above from a very special person has joined us today.
Hello, I'm Los Angeles Mayor Eric Garcetti, and on behalf of the great city of Los Angeles, Nowruz Mubarak. I wish I could be with you today, but I wanted to thank Council Members Koretz and Huizar for continuing this great celebration. I've been proud to celebrate alongside the Persian community for years, and now as mayor, as a fourth-generation Angelino, I know that our city's diversity is our greatest strength, and our Persian community adds so much to the vibrancy of our neighborhoods and our economy, whether it's in culture, politics, business, or academia. I want to thank you for your contributions to this city and wish you a happy and prosperous 1393. I grew up in the suburb of Los Angeles, a small Persian suburb called Encino. So I've seen firsthand the impact of this community. I'm hand in hand with you every step of the way as your mayor. I can't wait to celebrate this time of renewal and know that this great Persian city called Los Angeles celebrates with the rest of the world another new year.
And now a great friend of the Persian community, our city attorney, Mike Feuer.
Thank you very much, Jose. I just want to add a word. You know, as Paul said, he represents the city council district with the largest concentration of Persian Americans and of anybody of Persian descent outside of Tehran. I had the opportunity to represent that district on the city council and a broader one in the state legislature, and was able to forge some long-time marvelous friendships and deep relationships within the Persian American community. It's a community whose values mirror the best of American values: education, family, the value of hard work. And it's a community of which all of us can be deeply proud. So as we stand here today and collectively say, Eid Shoma Mubarak, we can also say that we are celebrating the best of what Los Angeles has to offer, not just this country, but the world. Happy New Year, springtime, a time for all of us to look to renew the best of the Los Angeles spirit.
And someone who rushed over across the street to make sure he was here today to celebrate Nowruz with all of us, our controller, Galperin.
Good morning and Nowruz Piruz. We're here today, of course, to celebrate Nowruz and to take a moment to recognize the tremendous impact of the Persian community right here in Los Angeles. And as been mentioned, there are nearly 1 million Iranian Americans here in California, and LA is fortunate to be the home to the largest emigre community of Iranians anywhere outside of Iran. The impact is seen everywhere around us, and it's one of innovation, a wellspring of vitality, of culture, of entrepreneurship. And this is a great holiday because it's one in which individuals of all faiths and creeds come together: Jews, Muslims, Christians, Baha'i, Zoroastrians. And it's a season of rebirth and renewal, a time to pause and to taste the sweetness of all of these wonderful symbols of Nowruz that are out there right in the rotunda. And by the way, anybody who's been to Persian community events, and I've been fortunately to many of them, knows that nobody knows how to do it like the Persian community. So it's an honor and it's a real pleasure to be here to celebrate. So Eid Shoma Mubarak. Happy New Year to everybody.
Thank you. And now, thank you very much. And you know, the reality is that this Nowruz celebration in these chambers has become an annual event that we all look forward to each and every year, because our good friend, Congressmember Cardenas, we all heard the story about how he would talk to some of the employees, and they had been wanting to celebrate this and never got the recognition in terms of the number of employees here in the city of Los Angeles and the importance of this celebration to their community. And he made it certain that we would celebrate Nowruz here in these chambers each and every year. It has gotten bigger and better every year. And a great friend of the Persian community, our Congressmember, former council member for the city of Los Angeles, Cardenas.
Thank you very much, Councilmember Huizar and the entire council. I want to thank you so much for continuing this wonderful, beautiful tradition, as we should, as the city of Los Angeles is a place where we celebrate many traditions, many cultures, and rightfully so, because we are so blessed to be the eclectic, wonderful, beautiful city that so many people come from other countries to start a second life. And that's what Nowruz is about. It's about a new beginning. And I think it's important and fitting that I mentioned two people today who came to me when I was a freshman councilman, and they asked if I could present them, their community, with a resolution on behalf of the city council. And they got a little teary-eyed when I said yes, and I said, "What's wrong with you guys? What's going on? Why are you acting so weird?" And they said, and Miriam Perea said, "Well, we've been asking people, elected officials in this city for years, and nobody would say yes." And I said, not only are we going to say yes and do the resolution, we're going to do it in the council chambers. We're going to open up the rotunda. I love their food. And you're going to bring all your food, and we're going to have a celebration. And that was the first time that the Persian, Iranian workers of the city of Los Angeles came together. Not only did they fill these chambers, they overflowed the rotunda that we had to open up the patio area because they finally felt welcome. That's how immigrants feel for far too long when they come to this great country. And it's unfortunate that too many people in this country who've been blessed to be here for generations end up trying to encourage immigrants to forget their roots, to forget their language, forget their culture. And that is a shame. That is a shame that anyone on this planet would ask anybody to do that. So I just want to say thank you so much to my former council colleagues, to all of you, to Jose Huizar, for continuing this wonderful, beautiful presentation of Nowruz, which celebrates a new beginning. And also, the last thing I'd like to say is, in the last 12 months since the last celebration here, we got very close to losing a friend, Amir Tabak, who came to my office with Perea and asked that we start this tradition. He had an operation, scared the life out of all of us, and I would like him to stand so that we could thank him for his courage and his spirit, and he is here today. He's around here somewhere. He actually started back to work recently, and maybe he went back to his office. That's how dedicated he is. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Mr. President, we have some other speakers from the Persian community. I'm not sure if at this point you would like to hear from some of the council members or colleagues, or continue with the program.
I appreciate that, and I do feel the need to afford our colleagues the opportunity to speak at this time, starting with Mr. Bloomingfield.
Thank you. I just wanted to add my voice to this celebration and say a big Nowruz, Piruz to everybody, and to thank Congressman Cardenas for bringing this forward. I'm a freshman member of this body, and I'm so glad that we don't have to fight for this, that this is a celebration that's here because it is such a vibrant community all across the city. And I represent the West San Fernando Valley, and I see a number of my constituents and friends have come all the way, and it takes us an hour and a half or more to get from all the way, have come all the way here to join in this celebration. I see Barbara and John Ardalan over there, and they just put together a couple of weeks ago, tens of thousands of people came out to the West Valley for the pinkpages.com, which celebrated the Persian businesses. We have a vibrant community that's talking about creating a Persian square of the San Fernando Valley because we have such a vibrant community. So I'm just thrilled to celebrate to join in this celebration and to wish everybody a happy 1393. And so Happy New Year to all. Thank you.
Mr. Paul Krikorian.
Thank you, Mr. President. Good morning, everyone. I am so delighted when we celebrate Nowruz here every year, and I want to thank Congressman Cardenas for bringing us this very, very important tradition. Celebration of Nowruz with all of you is especially important to me as the first Armenian American ever elected to this council because the Iranian people have always been so close to the Armenian people. In fact, many of the Armenian Americans who live here in Southern California immigrated here from Iran, a place that they took refuge in for centuries against oppression and lived together as brothers and sisters. And so we share in this celebration along with all of you. But it's also a celebration that should be important to people of all backgrounds. It's the marking of the opportunity of rebirth and recreation of ourselves at the beginning of spring. And certainly here in Los Angeles, it's a reason to celebrate surviving yet another horrible, miserable winter that we've just emerged from. And somehow we made it through to the first day of spring again. But also, as several of my colleagues have expressed, the Iranian-American community here, a community of immigrants who have built so much, inspire all of us, people of all backgrounds, because of your commitment to family values, your commitment to education, your commitment to success in so many different areas of endeavor in our city. And I'm proud to say that I have a few examples of that success on my own staff, starting with my field deputy, Nikki Azari here, who is born in Tehran. Anita Avakian, the daughter of Iranian Armenians who immigrated here during the Civil War. And of course, as many of you know, my longtime chief of staff, Adrian Nazarian, himself born in Tehran, an Iranian Armenian American who now serves us so capably in the California State Assembly. And I'm proud to say that Adrian Nazarian initiated the first Nowruz celebration in our state capital in our state's history. And so it's another important step forward for this community. And so I just want to wish you all Sad Sol Bain Solha. Thank you.
Mr. Labange.
Thank you very much, and I want to thank all my friends here, and I especially thank you for the flowers that I will give to my wife tonight and get a little credit. But I'll credit you too. I'll credit you too, because sometimes she thinks, oh, you just got it at dinner. And I said, no, I got it from these great people who came to celebrate, as we all want to. I flash back when I look at everybody here of this city hall, which was built by people in 1928, and all who's come before, and then I focus right in when I got here, and Tom Bradley in 1973 opened his arms for all the city to come and participate, and now it's moved even further. Then I focus when I worked with the Congressman, Mr. Cardenas, because he was the first to bring people in to celebrate Nowruz, and we learn about others' celebrations, which is so important. To celebrate is so important. So I just wanted to welcome everybody here and say this is what this building's all about. This is what this city's all about. I do want to take credit, Paul. I hired Adrian Nazarian first. I hired Nikki first. They all got promoted, so I got that credit. But also I love to talk about Vahid Sapir, who came in 1965 from Tehran and came to USC and was a student at USC. And the student at USC is parking cars at Hollywood Boulevard and Orange, Michael, right next to the Chinese Theater. And there's a big guy named Slim, who was the old tour operator, had a big stretch Lincoln. He was retiring, and Bill Hertz, who worked for Sid Grauman, said, hey, Vahid, go talk to him. Take over his tour business. And sure enough, he took over this tour business, Mr. Weezar, and he thought Gray Line, which was a bus line, Greyhound, Starline, and he started Starline. And now the tourism, which you see in your district here, which goes down Broadway to look at the beautiful buildings of a gentleman who owns, your father, God rest his soul, owns all those buildings. All this is connected. So people have stepped up and made great contributions. So I just always like to rise and celebrate people, which is so important. A Marine who's so important to us. We had our Army veteran earlier at that podium. Happy Nowruz. Mr. Cardenas, always good to see you. My best to your wife, who's always so important to our teamwork as we serve the city, the state, and the county, and all the people. Thank you very much, Mr. President.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Labange. In fact, I've just been informed, so I want to congratulate Congressman Cardenas that you have begun this celebration in Washington, D.C., and so now we're going national, so you should be congratulated for that. So, I mean, so you never know what will happen when there's just a conversation of a few people, how it could grow and become of national importance. So, Mr. Weezar, back to you, sir.
Thank you very much, Mr. President. We just found out today the real reason Congressmember has done the Nowruz celebrations because he says he likes the food. So, and for the record, Councilmember Krikori, we really want to know, did Mr. Labange really hire Irene and others before you did? Was that true?
He did, but they only really truly came to their fullest potential when they joined me.
Believe it or not, I actually hired him before either of you. because he worked briefly for me in City Hall in West Hollywood a number of years ago.
It was a competition.
But it wasn't until Mr.
People, they all get hired.
It wasn't until Mr. Krikorian hired him and they got a new life through Nowruz and really blossomed, right? No, thank you. We have a really special guest today. As we've heard from many speakers, the Persian community has a number of successful people who have done great things and contributed greatly to this great country that we have. And we have with us a special guest, the Honorable Jita Vahid Tehrani. Judge Tehrani has worked for the Executive Office of Immigration Review in the Department of Justice for 12 years, serving as an immigration judge at the Los Angeles Immigration Court. She was the first Iranian-American immigration judge, and in the past 12 years has presided over thousands of immigration matters. On 2 occasions, Judge Tehrani has received the U.S. Attorney General's Outstanding Award for mentoring judges and attorneys. She has been involved with the evaluation of immigration courts nationwide and is the former chair of the Board of Immigration Appeals Precedent Decision Committee. Please join me in welcoming the Honorable Judge Tehrani.
Thank you, Councilman. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. I'm honored and delighted to be here today on my personal capacity and as a representative of the Iranian American community. I want to wish you all a happy, healthy, and prosperous Nowruz. I'm also humbled to be here among you, very accomplished and distinguished members of the Los Angeles community. The United Nations General Assembly in 2010, after recognizing the International Day of Nowruz, described the celebration of Nowruz as a spring festival of Persian origin, which has been celebrated for 3,000 years. The Nowruz celebration is neither religious nor national and is celebrated by all, as we all heard from other speakers. The Iranian culture is also enriched with many illustrious poets who have recited beautiful poetry throughout the years. One of the poems that resonates with me today on this first day of spring and Nowruz is a poem written by Sadi, who's a very famous Persian poet of the 1200s. This poem is actually also exhibited in the walls of the United Nations. Sadi says, "The children of Adam are limbs of each other, having been created of one essence. When the calamity of time affects one limb, the other limbs cannot remain at rest. If thou hast no sympathy for the troubles of others, thou art unworthy to be called by the name of a man." Similarly, the City Council's admirable decision to include this very joyous occasion on their agenda today demonstrate that the City of Angels believes in the same basic principles that Sadi recited in his poetry, in that a successful governing body should be cognizant of the concerns and traditions of its citizenry. By being inclusive, the City of Los Angeles is carrying on the torch of the Declaration of Humanity that King Cyrus lit thousands of years ago. The effect of this inclusiveness in turn is reflected in the achievements of the Iranian American community that you heard about earlier today as well, who have been major contributors to the city, be it in the arts, sciences, business, law, medicine, and all other areas in the relatively short amount of time we have immigrated to the United States. So like Nowruz, which is an inclusive celebration and festival of spring, so is this gathering today. By celebrating our different cultures and traditions, it is only then that we explore our similarities. May the rebirth, flora, fauna, and beauty of Nowruz and spring open all your hearts to the love of humanity and continued respect for the diverse traditions that our cosmopolitan city offers. Happy Nowruz to all. Eid Nowruz Mubarak, and thank you very much.
Thank you so much. And next, I would like to introduce Sergeant Kamran Sadagiani. from the United States Marine Corps. Sergeants, let's give them a round of applause. Thank you for your service to our country. The sergeant has served in the Marine Corps for over 10 years. He served a combat tour in Afghanistan where he was in charge of a combat outpost and served as an interpreter. For his actions, he was awarded the Navy and Marine Corps Commendation Medal. Kamran also served 4 tours in the Southeast Asia-Pacific region. He is now an instructor in the reserves at the School of Infantry, Camp Pendleton, and is a full-time mechanical engineering student. In between school, he develops laboratory equipment and manages operations for his family business, Terra Universal Incorporated. Please welcome someone who has served our country and represents the Persian community extremely well, Sergeant Kamran Sadakiani.
Salano Mubarak. It's a pleasure to be here and to celebrate my culture with all of you today. And I'm just going to keep it short today, and I look forward to meeting all of you later. Thank you very much.
All right. Next, I would like to bring up Mr. Ali Razi, who is the Vice Chair of the Midnight Mission Board. Midnight Mission has served the disadvantaged of Los Angeles for over 100 years. They have served over 1 million meals to the homeless population and have turned around countless lives. Midnight Mission service includes a 12-step recovery program, job training, as well as education and work programs. These services offer a compassionate bridge to productive lives for hundreds of thousands in the Los Angeles area. This year, the Midnight Mission will be serving lunch to the residents of Skid Row in lieu of serving lunch to members of today's event. Please welcome Ali Razi from the Midnight Mission.
Welcome. Thank you, Councilman. Mr. President, honorable council members, the Midnight Mission, Southern California's premier social service provider, has been a source of revival and renewal for homeless population of Los Angeles for the past century, commemorating its 100-year anniversary this year. Underscoring the Midnight Mission's enduring commitment to homeless community, the Midnight marks its milestone by never missing a day of providing meal and services since 1914. With an enduring commitment and conviction that defines the Midnight Mission's ongoing success, we have successfully evolved alongside the city's diverse and changing demographics over the last century. This year, the Midnight Mission proudly carried out its 3rd annual Nowruz, a street celebration on Skid Row in downtown Los Angeles. Nowruz is an annual celebration that marks the revival of nature and the beginning of the Iranian New Year for people of all faiths. In honor of this 3,000-year-old holiday, the Iranian American community is coming together to give back to more than 3,000 Skid Row residents. The Midnight Mission is proud to be aligned with the Iranian American community, who continues their philanthropic pledges to the city and to the issues of the homelessness. I would like to thank Nowruz Celebration Foundation for their great work and for the generous donation to Midnight Mission. As an Iranian American and chairman of the Iranian Cultural Foundation, Farhang, I would like also to take this opportunity to thank Councilman Paul Koretz and the City Council for your support for the public urban art sculpture called Freedom. Freedom was inspired by the first Charter of Human Rights issued by Cyrus the Great, which will be selected through an international competition to be offered to the City of Angels by the Iranian American community. Thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you. And finally, Mr. President and colleagues in public, we have a speaker that is no stranger to these chambers. Poria Abbasi is a former general manager of the Los Angeles Convention Center, where he did a great job in getting better performance standards as to how the convention center was functioning. He is the current senior vice president and regional executive director of Phoenix House, as well as a board member of the Nowruz Foundation. He will make a few comments in Farsi, the native language of Iran, for the Farsi-speaking audience of this program that will be shown worldwide. Mr. Abbasi, welcome back to the chambers in the city of Los Angeles.
I had here honorable members of the City Council. I rather say honorable friends. It's wonderful to be back. As you heard, this marks the 11th year that Nowruz Foundation has partnered with the City of Los Angeles to bring the celebration to City Hall. I think it's appropriate to take a moment and acknowledge the foundation board members, Ms. Dr. Mariam Azerbaijani Morawati, Mr. Hamid Behtad, Michael Delijani, and Mr. Amir Tabak, whose consistent and steadfast commitment throughout the years have made celebrating, honoring, and sharing this most benevolent symbol of our cultural heritage possible. It is also equally important and most appropriate to take a moment to pay respect to and acknowledge the founder of our foundation, the late Mr. Izzat Delijani. His vision of Angelinos coming together to learn about the message of peace, hope, love, and tranquility inherent in the celebration of Nowruz continues to be the driving force of this celebration in City Hall. We owe him much gratitude and will continue to honor his vision. I would also like to appreciate and acknowledge our funders and sponsors. Their generous contributions year after year have made this celebration possible. A major note of gratitude goes to Messrs. Isaac Kohanzad, Michael Delijani, Joseph Emrani, Cam Hekmat, Alex Moradi, Reza Sarbanha, and Mehran and Shidan Taslimi. We really thank them. In closing, and on behalf of the foundation, I would like to wish each and every one of you a most prosperous, healthy, and happy Persian New Year. May peace and love prevail on earth and for all people. And with the Council President's permission, I would say a few words in Farsi. نوروز باستانی بر همه مردمان به ویژه پارسیان در سراسر جهان مبارک باد. سالی پر از مهر، آشتی، صلح و دوستی، سلامتی و موفقیت را برای همگان آرزومندیم. هر روزتان نوروز، نوروزتان پیروز. Thank you. Thank you.
Well, thank you so much. As you can see, we had some speakers that represent the type of professionals and dedicated people that serve the city of Los Angeles and also this country. We also heard from the representative from the Nowruz Foundation board who continues to help the city celebrate Nowruz each and every year. I want to thank Councilmember Koretz one more time for helping with this event, my staff member Diana for helping organize this event as well. And I also want to thank the late Izzat Delijani, who has made it his commitment to not only celebrate it here in Los Angeles, but as a Congress member is doing in Washington, D.C. There are many other cities like New York, Houston, Dallas, San Francisco, Sacramento, Irvine, and San Diego who are now celebrating Nowruz to celebrate a rebirth and the great contributions of the Persian community to this great country. So with that, let me present to the foundation a resolution from the city of Los Angeles congratulating all of you on this Nowruz Day and also a celebration of the Persian New Year. Congratulations on behalf of the city of Los Angeles. Thank you. I also want to thank a big round of applause, please, to Hamid Behdad, who also helps us with this organizing this event. Thank you so much. Get the photos. Take one more photo there. Yeah.
All right. Thank you. Let's give them one more round of applause. Thank you. And Mr. Weezar, we're going to kind of rearrange the schedule so you can go take a few pictures in the back with our guests. So, Mr. Krikorian, I want to put you on the alert that I'll be calling you in a moment. Right after, I believe Mr. Parks has an introduction, and as soon as we get a little quiet, I will defer to Mr. Parks for a quick intro, and then we'll go to Mr. Krikorian. Oh, in fact, you know what? Madam Clerk, we do have a quorum. Could you please call the roll?
Blumenfield, Bonner, Buscano, Cedillo, Englander, Fuentes, Weezar, Caress, Krikorian, Labange, Martinez, O'Farrell, Parks, Price, Weston. 11 members present, a quorum, Mr. President.
Great. First order of business.
Approval of the minutes.
Weezer moves, Fuentes seconds. Next.
Committed to resolutions for approval.
Krikorian moves, Buscaino seconds. All right, so now we can go back to Mr. Parks. You want to make a quick introduction?
Come back.
Okay, thank you. Thank you very much. I would like to introduce one of our local heroes that recently was at City Council and assisted the El Salvadorian community in getting the corridor named that covers both the 1st and the 8th District. But today, Mr. Ordon has brought a very special guest with him to the City Council. He's the mayor of San Lorenzo, El Salvador, and his name is Mr. Walter Ortiz. And we'd like him just to make a couple of brief comments as we welcome him here at the City Council.
Señor Presidente, Harold Wilson,
Mr. President,
Bernard Park, concejal, gracias por invitarme, a todo el consejo. Buenos días.
Council Member Bernard Parks, thank you very much for your invitation. Everyone else, good morning to all.
Realmente como alcalde es un gusto el poder estar en Los Ángeles, California.
As a mayor, it is a great pleasure being able to be here in Los Angeles, California.
Visitando a la comunidad salvadoreña y en especial a la comunidad de mi pueblo que son sanlorenzanos aquí en Los Ángeles.
Visiting the Salvadoran community and especially visiting the constituents of my town, which are San Lorenzo.
Gracias porque nuestro municipio ha recibido ayuda de este estado, de Los Ángeles, muchas familias.
Thank you very much because our municipality has received a lot of assistance and aid from the city of Los Angeles. Many families have benefited from such.
Muchas familias en nuestro pueblo les dice muchas gracias.
And thus a lot of the families in our town wants to extend through me their thanks for your help.
Porque esas familias hoy viven diferente.
Because due to your help, those families have a different, better life.
Y estamos tocando los corazones de las personas aquí en Los Ángeles para que también puedan apoyar, colaborar y contribuir con los pobres de nuestros pueblos.
And we're touching a lot of hearts of the residents here in California so they can work with us, help us, and collaborate with us so that we can continue helping the lower income families in our towns.
Quiero también agradecer la conmemoración del 32 aniversario de la muerte de Monseñor Romero.
I would also like to commemorate the 32nd anniversary of the deceased Monsignor.
Líder y mártir, obispo.
Leader, martyr, bishop.
Que hoy por hoy contribuyó su muerte a muchos cambios en nuestro querido El Salvador.
Monsignor Romero, who during his life contributed and helped make and create a lot of changes in our beloved San Salvador.
Queremos que cuando visiten El Salvador, visiten San Lorenzo, un pueblo blanco, limpio y seguro. Muchas gracias.
And we invite you that when you visit El Salvador to visit San Lorenzo. It's a wonderful, white, safe, and beautiful town, and we'll welcome you there. Thank you very much.
And welcome to Los Angeles, Mr. Mayor. Thank you for coming. Mr. Krikorian.
Okay, vamos atrás. Okay. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. President. Glenn, if you could come up with your guests and your family and guests, please. Colleagues, today I'd like to take a moment to recognize the achievements and career of Glenn Gaynor, the president of Physical Productions for Screen Gems, which is a feature division of Sony Pictures Entertainment. Glenn has been with the company since 2007, and he's been the executive producer of a number of movies that you know, Friends with Benefits, Priest, Takers, Death at a Funeral, Obsessed, Think Like a Man, and others. But in addition to the great success that he's had as a producer, I also want to recognize Glenn's role as a leader in the entertainment industry in sustainability. For many years now, Glenn has been one of those who's thought outside of the box. He's adopted new technologies to his productions in a way that will contribute to the environmental sustainability of this important work. He, for example, oversaw construction of a superstructure built on Stage 23 at Sony Pictures for the movie Quarantine, and that superstructure was then repurposed for 7 other Screen Gem productions, significantly reducing the amount of waste and use of resources. The Environmental Media Association has repeatedly recognized Glenn's efforts and awarded Screen Gems with the Green Seal for implementing sustainable production practices and raising environmental awareness. So the work that Glenn has done, I think, has led the industry, but it's also a reminder of what an important player the film and television production industry is in Southern California, and how it has done an extraordinary job of adopting sustainable practices in order to reduce the impact on the environment. But today, most of all, I want to recognize Glenn for his commitment to Los Angeles. As many of you know, Mr. O'Farrell, Mr. Price, and I are serving on the ad hoc committee on film and television jobs right now, and we're working hard to try to keep, with the mayor, to try to keep film and television production jobs here in Los Angeles. Glenn has been fighting this fight and has been in the forefront of this effort for many, many years, and in a very admirable way, he's insisted that productions take place in Los Angeles that could easily have gone elsewhere. And one of his recent pictures is a great example of that. About Last Night, which was just introduced, premiered on February 14th, on Valentine's Day, was a movie that many of you know was a remake of a movie that was based on a David Mamet play that was set in Chicago. But despite that setting, Glenn decided, no, that's going to be a Los Angeles movie. And so the entire movie, every part of that movie was filmed right here in downtown Los Angeles. In fact, other than a scene in Dodger Stadium, it was shot within just a few blocks of this very building. And so not only did all of those production jobs stay here in Los Angeles instead of going to New Mexico or going to Illinois or Louisiana or someplace else, not only did we get the benefit of all of those jobs and all of that investment, but we also had an opportunity to celebrate the resurgence of downtown. I saw Carol Schatz here a minute ago, but I guess she's not here. But this was an opportunity to showcase the resurgence of downtown in a way that would be seen by people all over the world. And so for that, and for all of his other great contributions to this industry and to the city of Los Angeles, I want to take a moment to recognize the achievements and accomplishments of Glenn Gaynor, head of physical production for Screen Gems. Glenn?
Thank you. Now, excuse me for one second, Mr. Krikorian and Glenn, if I may. We all want to thank you for going above and beyond to keep producing films in our great city. We recognize that it's a challenge, and hopefully Mr. Krikorian and his subcommittee will come up with recommendations to this body so that we can make your job easier. Plus, I want you to know that I am a Quarantine fan.
Oh, thank you.
I just want to go on the record as saying that. So again, let's give Glenn a round of applause, and the mic is yours.
Thank you, Paul. Thank you very much. Well, first, I do want to thank City Council Member Paul Krikorian for inviting me to City Hall. It's always a pleasure and an honor to be speaking to such a distinguished group of men and women who love this city as much as I. For years, we've taken the Hollywood film industry for granted and assumed it was ours to keep. Now, more than ever, we know that's not true. Hollywood has become a global production term and knows no boundaries. Hollywood is no longer a place than an idea, with motion pictures and television productions being produced the world over. For Screen Gems, as we said, it was a blessing to be able to produce our latest theatrical motion picture about last night here in this great city where we live. We were greeted with open arms and cooperation from the city and from local businesses such as Kohl's and Casey's, the Broadway Bar, all the way to Dodger Stadium. Our mission was simple: to tell the best story and to make downtown look as beautiful as it is, and to make it look like the place to do business and the place to live. And I think we accomplished that in that film, and I'm very proud of that. Movies such as ours are an important part of our city and our culture. But more and more production is shooting outside of California and shooting outside of Los Angeles. An example of this is mentioned in a Film LA report published this month. In 2013, there were 41 live-action films with budgets in excess of $75 million. Of these, only 2 were shot primarily in California. So I hope the city and the esteemed members of this council stand with our allies in Sacramento to help support a meaningful effort to staunch the runaway production and work with meaningful legislation to bring our jobs back home. Thank you. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Thank you.
Glenn, I want to present you with this resolution on behalf of the people of the city of Los Angeles.
Thank you very, very much. Oh, that's beautiful.
And let's just... All right.
Thank you.
My pleasure. Thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you, Mr. Labange.
I wanted to thank Mr. Krikorian and especially thank Glenn. I got there late on Saturday up in Sunland, Tahunga for the big rally that we got to continue to have to keep this industry alive. Give him another big hand, Glenn. Good job.
Mr. Koretz. And if I could get Mr. Labange.
Good to see you.
Mr. Koretz, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Mr. President. Today, City Attorney Mike Fewer and I are honored to present some distinguished guests who are here to celebrate the 10th Annual Mediation Awareness Awards Week, which starts on March 24th. With court delays worsening due to budget cuts, mediation is more valuable than ever, providing people in need with fast and fair dispute resolution, thus contributing to the safety and harmony of Los Angeles. It's now my privilege to introduce Daniel Ben-Zvi, Chairman of Mediation Awareness Week for the last 10 years.
Thank you, Councilman Koretz, for sponsoring this 10th Annual Mediation Awareness Week, and to our former sponsors, President Wesson, Zine, Buscaino, and our founding sponsor, Wendy Gruhl. With court delays worsening due to budget cuts, mediation is more valuable than ever. Mediation provides fast and fair dispute resolution. Right now, in hundreds of conference rooms around the city, there are experienced, skilled mediators mediating all kinds of disputes and lawsuits. By the end of today, signed settlement agreements will end most of these disputes. Imagine how many more courtrooms and judges would be needed if it weren't for these mediations. Imagine the enormous cost the city saves every day because of these mediations. Mediation versus litigation also saves people and businesses much stress and expense, which results in happier, more productive citizens. As mediators know, every dispute, whether in court or out of court, should be mediated. Thank you to all here, including City Attorney Fewer, for promoting awareness of the great value of mediation.
Thank you, Daniel. Next, we'll hear from David Ring, Vice President of the Consumer Attorneys of Los Angeles and partner in Taylor & Ring.
Well, thank you. Good morning, everybody. Access to justice is incredibly important to our organization, to our clients. And what I mean by that is if they can't have their case heard in the courthouse in a timely manner, that really harms them. These are people who have been seriously hurt or injured. And a few years ago, before these drastic budget cuts, you could get to trial in about 1 year from the time the case was filed. And now it's up to 3 years or longer. And so that's why mediation is so important to what we do. Mediation allows our clients to take a real attempt to resolve their case without having to wait 3 years to get to a trial. They can go to a mediation with a mediator and resolve their case early on without incurring huge costs and a lot of time. And so it is so incredibly important that this process works in our system. And our system is so clogged up right now that I can't emphasize enough how important this mediation is. Thank you for making it a big promotion for this week.
Thank you, David. And Robert Olson is president of the Association of Southern California Defense Counsel and partner of Grains, Martin, Stein, and Richland. Robert?
Good morning. Thank you again for having us here. Our association is more than 1,000 attorneys who defend companies, small businesses, individuals, and yes, public entities when they have claims made against them. Ultimately, though, we are in the dispute resolution business. Sometimes that means a case has to be tried and appealed, and we're prepared to do that, but most cases can and should be resolved amicably. And we work with mediators and with our friends on the plaintiff side to resolve disputes, and it is a valuable process. We do it at all stages, before a suit is filed to even while something's on appeal, and it is a very effective process that is worth pursuing and worth recognizing. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Joseph Markowitz is president of the Southern California Mediation Association. Joseph?
Thank you. I want to thank the city for recognizing Mediation Awareness Week. Mediation awareness is also the mission of the organization that I represent, the Southern California Mediation Association. We provide resources for the public and for mediators to promote the practice of mediation. As an example, when the Superior Court terminated its ADR program last year, we developed a searchable directory to assist the public in finding mediation services. So if anyone's interested in more information about the work that Southern California Mediation Association is doing, you can find out more about that at scmediation.org. Thank you.
Thank you. And Lucy Barron is president and founder of ADR Services. Lucy?
Thank you. Good morning. Thank you very much for honoring Mediation Week. That is what we do. We provide the forum for the mediators to conduct the mediations. We have great mediators, Dan Bensby being one of them here today. Our office handles something like 8,500 cases a year. We have offices in downtown, Century City. We have done a lot of mediations on behalf of the city of Los Angeles. Our group consists mainly of retired judges and lawyers, and we are very, very proud of what we do. We put peace back into people's lives. Thank you.
Thank you. And now, before we present our proclamation declaring March 24th through 31st Mediation Awareness Week, it's my honor to ask our esteemed City Attorney, Mike Feuer, to say a few words.
Thank you, Paul. I want to thank everybody who has made a presentation so far for their contributions to getting disputes resolved. You know, all of us in public service are in the dispute resolution business in one way or another, And our office has played a leadership role in the city of Los Angeles for years in this regard. We have a very significant and successful dispute resolution program. It is headed by our colleague, Songhai Maguda Armstead, who's standing over here to my left. Representatives of our office, council members, will be coming to each of your offices to talk to you about how we can help you provide important ways to resolve disputes in neighborhoods throughout the communities you represent. I just want to conclude with this. I'm trained as a mediator. In my work as a lawyer and in my work as a legislator, I've been asked to mediate disputes. And the thing about that role that's so compelling to me is mediation requires listening carefully to everyone's perspective. And with that listening in mind, trying to find the common ground. That's a theme from which all of us in public life, lawyers, elected officials, all of us, should try to emulate. And so today, as we celebrate this week, it's really a celebration of the most just and accessible ways we can assure that everyone embroiled in a dispute can try to find a resolution they can live with. That's a real great aspiration for all of us in the city. Thank you, Mr. President, and thank you very much, Mr. Koretz, for leading this presentation today.
Thank you, Mike. And now that we know you're a trained mediator, maybe we'll bring you down to the Horseshoe once in a while to mediate some of our disputes. And without further ado, on behalf of the City Council, the Mayor, City Attorney, and City Controller, I'd like to declare March 24th through 31st Mediation Awareness Week in the City of Los Angeles. And thank you all for championing the important practice of mediation.
Thank you, Mr. Koretz, and all these distinguished, each and every one of them, distinguished individuals, and our city attorney.
What does that mean?
Okay. Okay. One more?
No. All these
guys. Okay, we got it. Thank you so much.
Mr. Weezar, for the next presentation. Thank you, on the great 14th.
Ya son noches, ¿verdad?
José, ¿cómo estás? ¿Cómo te va?
Hola, ¿cómo están? Muy bien, muy bien. ¿Cómo están? Buenos días. Buenos días, ¿cómo están?
¿Cómo estás?
Estamos bien, bien, bien. Gracias. Gracias.
Well, thank you very much, Mr. Labange. And I'm really excited today, along with Councilmember Cedillo, who could not be with us today. But we have a very special presentation to an organization that is celebrating its 10th year anniversary here in the city of Los Angeles. I'm talking about Hoy Newspaper. And let's give them a big round of applause for their 10-year anniversary. Congratulations. Given all the financial challenges that newspaper businesses face these days, 10 years and running is certainly something worth celebrating. We welcome here today Hoy's editorial director, Alejandro Maciel, who will speak in a few moments. Bienvenido. And city editor, Agustin Duran, welcome. And a number of the reporters and men and women who work at Hoy. These are distinguished journalists. They are doing an excellent job of bringing the news to the community. Hoy is the largest weekly Spanish newspaper in Los Angeles, published every Thursday, Friday, and Saturday. Hoy Los Angeles is a Los Angeles Times publication with over 1 million copies every week in 3 counties, Los Angeles, the Inland Empire, and Orange County. They are a complete Spanish language resource guide providing Latinos with the Latino perspective on everything from front page news, entertainment updates, sports, and much more. Their publication is distributed free to 3,500 racks and retail locations in 107 Latino-based zip codes. And Hoy Fin de Semana is home delivered to over 740,000 households throughout Los Angeles. Here in Los Angeles County, it takes a lot of commitment and effort to keep Los Angeles diverse communities informed, where 56% of the population speak languages other than English at home, according to the 2010 census. Over the last 10 years, Hoy Newspaper has been doing its part as a valuable friend to the Los Angeles Latino community through stories that inform, inspire, and sometimes even ignite our neighborhoods into action. And I think they were one of the very first who caught me in a picture in my charo suit in the 16th of September parade, and they did a story on that. And from there, everybody found out that I love to celebrate charreria. So anyway, with that, let me invite up to the microphone the editorial director, Alejandro Maciel.
Thank you. Just let me tell you first that it's very impressive to be here in the microphone, not as a reporter, but in the microphone. It's very impressive. But thank you. In the last 10 years, we have been working in the city, and it's very important, this recognition, because it's coming from the city council of the city that we love to serve. Our commitment is very clear. We are trying to improve the quality of life for our community. We are trying to educate, to inform, and we are trying to do our best. I think with all of you guys, with our people, we can do a very, very good job. Thanks a lot for this recognition. It's very, very important for us.
Gracias. Thank you very much. Huh?
Thank you.
All right. Mr. Huizar, we do have a council member who wants to say some good words. May I call on Mr. O'Farrell?
Sure.
Mr. O'Farrell, the 13th.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Thank you, Jose, and I also want to thank Gil Cedillo, who couldn't be here today because he's attending a funeral, I understand. Yeah. The Latino community spreads far and wide. Pacoima, San Pedro, on the west side, you've got the Oaxacan community, and all the way to Boyle Heights. The Latino press keeps Los Angeles connected, and I can't believe it's already been 10 years that OI is celebrating. I'm an avid reader of OI. My retention's about 80%. I get tongue-tied when I try to speak Spanish. But OI has helped me learn Spanish. And I also want to thank Andrea Carrion, who's standing there, for your exceptional coverage on many issues, including the recent coverage on e-cigarettes, which was a very interesting day here at Council, but we are regulating citywide, and your coverage was very fair and balanced, so I really appreciate that. So let me just say a few words in Spanish, if you'll indulge me. Quiero agradecer a Concejal Cedillo y Huizar para invitar hoy al ayuntamiento. La comunidad latino se extiende a lo largo y ancho de nuestra gran ciudad de Los Ángeles, de Pacoima a San Pedro, a la comunidad oaxaqueña en el West Side, to Boyle Heights, and el East Side. Los periodistas latinos ayudan a conectar a las comunidades y nos acercan. Estoy muy agradecido por sus informes en nuestros vecindarios. Muchísimas gracias y felicidades. Thank you.
Gracias. Wow. That was very, very impressive, Mr. O'Farrell. I think you speak one of the best Spanish here in Council, but East Side has said El Este. Okay. El Este, okay. Thank you. And speaking of Andrea Carrion, please welcome her up to the microphone to also share a few words. Andrea Carrion, a reporter with OI.
Good morning to everyone. This is a surprise. I wasn't expecting to speak, but I can say that I'm one of the first ones to start the newspaper 10 years ago. It was a real challenge, very exciting, and can't believe it's the 10th year anniversary. I just wanted to thank everybody, and we're here to stay. Have a good day.
Thank you very much. And OI not only provides information to its Spanish speakers in the area, but also, as we know, when we produce information in a language that people understand, people feel part of the community, people feel part of this great city. And so they're not only doing a great job in informing Spanish speakers in the city and the region, but also providing more cohesiveness in this great city of ours and making people feel as well that they're part of this great community. On a personal note, one of my favorite Los Angeles journalists was always Jesse Linares, who passed away in 2012. Like his OI colleagues who carry on his honor, Jesse was fair, tough, and always working on ways to better serve and inform the Latino community he cared so much about. This is the mark OI has made these last 10 years. I fully expect them to continue that stellar service for many more years to come. And today we congratulate them and we wish them at the very least another 10 years and many more after that. Congratulations to OI Newspaper on behalf of the City of Los Angeles. And Rick, if you could get off Twitter and give me that resolution. Sorry. It's like my daughter. She's always on some, But anyway, on behalf of the City of Los Angeles, we want to present to you this resolution congratulating OI for 10 years of service to the city, the Los Angeles region, and may you have much more success. And thank you so much for not only providing this, but also many of our Spanish speakers in this region depend on you for information that is fair and tough, and that reminds them of what it means to be in Los Angeles, but our great Latino culture. Thank you so much for the work you do.
Oi, oi, oi.
Oi, oi, oi. Want to take a photo over here?
Everybody, you got to grab a picture. Wait, Jose, have them all grab a picture of that. Put your hand on it so you don't get cut out of the paper tomorrow. Everybody put their hand on it. They'll make a great picture.
We'll do that on the back, sir.
Oh, it looks better right
okay,
there.
All right. Where's
Take that shot, Sherry. Good job. Everybody put a hand on it. Good job. Yeah. Oh, good. See, now it's front page tomorrow. Okay. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Madam Clerk, I think that completes our presentations. What is our next item?
Mr. President, do you wish to run through the agenda?
Yes.
Items 1 through 3 are items for which public hearings have been held.
All right. Let's we can vote on those right now, right? 1 through 3. No speakers on the queue. Mr. Puentes, very well. Let's open the roll, close the roll, tabulate the vote.
11 ayes.
Next item.
Items 4 through 5 are items for which public hearings have not been held. 10 votes required for consideration.
All right, for consideration, open the roll, close the roll, tabulate the vote.
11 ayes.
For consideration.
And there are cards on both items.
All right, so we'll call those special. Next.
On the continuation agenda, item 6 is an item notice for public hearing.
Okay, we can take that up right now?
Yes, there are cards on that item.
Do we need to call it special?
Yes.
Okay, 6 we'll call special. Next.
Mr. President, do you wish to recess the regular meeting and begin the special meeting?
Yes.
Going?
Okay, Mr. City Attorney. Yes.
Blumenfeld, Bonnet, Buscaino, Cedillo, Englander, Fuentes, Huizar, Caress, Krikorian, Labange, Martinez, O'Farrell, Parks, Price, Wesson, 11 President, and a quorum, Mr. President.
Good. First item.
Item number 7 is an item for which public hearings have not been held. 10 votes required for consideration.
All right, so open the roll for consideration. Close the roll. Tabulate the vote.
11 ayes.
Very good. Here we're going to open it up right now. Let's put it before us.
And there are cards on this item, Mr. President?
I got them right here. John Walsh, followed by Mr. Herman, followed by Mr. Sachs, followed by Mr. Sean Murphy. Lavak, will you straighten that chair? Thank you, please.
John Walsh, blogging at Hollywood Highlands, HIGHLANDS.org, or at J. Walsh Confidential, tweeting at Hollywood Dems. This is number 7. It concerns loan agreements with the Los Angeles Youth Network to provide services and housing for homeless youth. I don't see too many of the homeless here today. But again, I believe you are doing a good job. Remember, when you do a good job, I say it. And you know, on homeless youth, I remember when I would be walking the streets of Hollywood, it was just full of 15 and 16-year-old kids, mostly white. 15 and 16, you know, and that 14, 15, 16. When they're 17 or 18, you can't tell the difference. But you can tell the difference between 14, 15, 16 and a kid who's legal. And it was a lot. I remember in this city, and there's only one person here that remember, Chief Parks remembers, Hollywood full of teenage hustlers, hundreds of them being exploited. Thanks to this city council and thanks to the neighborhood, we got rid of male prostitution in Hollywood. And remember, they'd kick an 18-year-old out of their goddamn car. They were interested in 13, 14, 15-year-old boys. And that went on, and the cops were, until Parks came in and cracked down, the cops were getting paid off. So you're doing a good job as far as homeless youth are concerned. HollywoodHighlands.org.
Mr. Herman, followed by Mr. Sachs, Mr. Murphy.
Absolutely no ruse to you Persians. Happy New Year, and hopefully a new creation to come. But the point of consideration that we're talking about here has to do with relative modification and execution for what? To love thy brother, housing and community investment departments to prepare and execute the necessary arrangements for LAYN. But my point within this 1 minute is this: let's prevent procedural errors and let's reflect on all resources to benefit every American, every citizen, and every person affected by this item under special number 7. Because again, community impact statement non-submitted. Non-submitted. And yes, Herman, you can speak on that corner over there, that's fine. But the point of this, love thy brother, thou unworthy man. Because as long as you continue not to reflect on the positive resources that are needed to shelter homeless people throughout Los Angeles, throughout our communities, and those of us who respect and protect public interest, it is in the duty of every councilman to protect public interest. And as a result, love thy brother, love thy brother. Obama said this some time ago. So how far will you take it? Mr. O'Donnell, please sit down. I'm trying to reflect on this point. But as you continue to interrupt me, City Attorney, again, cure and correct, Ralph M. Brown Act, 54950, 54963, violation of the Brown Act.
Arnold Sachs, followed by Mr. Murphy.
Yes, thank you. Good morning. Arnold Sachs. You know, I've been coming to the City Council since 2008, 2007. Never saw anything on this item at all. 6.5 years, never saw an item referring to the Los Angeles Youth Network. Never once, no housing program at all. So let's take this apart. It says $64,000 in change annually. Well, $64,000 in change annually comes to $5,600 a month. That's chump change. That probably just barely covered the cost of the flowers and the food that's being served out here in the rotunda for this celebration. Then it mentions this $64,000 annually is for the Options House at 1754 Taft Avenue. But it goes on to mention 1719 Taft Avenue also. So what funding is available for that? And also, there's nothing said, housing for homeless youth. How many homeless youth? The homeless population in the city of Los Angeles city is approximately 40,000, maybe a little more. Now, I'm not saying they're all homeless youth. What about the youth that come out of DCFS, They have a lot of problems. Where's the county in this program? Shouldn't this be a county-city collaboration? No. The city and the county never work together here. So what you get for $64,000, $5,600 a month to house youth? How many? How many people in these homes? And the other council districts. This goes back to Mr. Cedillo and the $1 million to clean up his council district. There's 15 council districts. Maybe if there was a home or 2 homes in each council district for some of the youth, and you're spending $64,000 in each district, that might be something.
Mr. Murphy.
Yes, I'm for this project. We should get homeless housing. Love thy neighbor as yourself.
That completes the comment. Madam Clerk, there's no speaker on the queue. Open the roll. Close the roll. Tabulate the vote.
11 ayes.
11 ayes. Next item in the special, next new special.
Mr. President, do you wish to adjourn the special
meeting?
meeting?
Adjourn the special. Go forward to the new special. Because you're so special. Thank you.
Call the roll is Blumenfeld, Bonin, Buscaino, Cedillo, Englander, Fuentes, Weezer, Carrasco, Krikorian, Labange, Martinez, O'Farrell, Parks, Price, Wesson. 11 members present, a quorum, Mr. President.
Okay, on this issue, let's put it before us now.
Item number 8 is an item for which public hearings have not been held. 10 votes required for consideration.
It's for consideration. Over the roll. Close the roll. Tabulate the vote.
11 ayes.
It's before us. Do you want to read it into the record, this item?
Item number 8 is consideration of resolution Cedillo O'Farrell relative to proclaiming March 24th, 2014 as the Day of Remembrance of Archbishop Oscar Romero of El Salvador.
Very well. And I would want to let everybody know if anyone wants to sit a little closer, you're welcome to sit a little closer. At this time, the seats have been cleared from our special events. Now I'd like to call on Arnold Sachs and Mr. Walsh. Mr. Sachs first.
Yes, thank you. Good morning again, Arnold Sachs. A day of remembrance boggles the mind. It was really nice of you when you did the presentation for the young woman who was a veteran serving in the armed forces. Maybe you could consider a motion claiming a day of remembrance for all the women in the military who have been sexually assaulted. That might be going somewhere. And where is everybody from El Salvador to celebrate this anniversary? I'm reminded a little bit when I read this of, there's on one of the cable television shows, they do reruns of Johnny Carson. You can buy all these tapes, and there's one famous tape where they have the potato chip lady on there, and she has this collection of potato chips of different figurines. And so she's presenting this, and she turns away, and Johnny Carson reaches into a bag and eats a potato chip. And she looks at him like, "You're dead, martyrdom." So I'm thinking maybe you could do a day for the potato chip lady. It's ridiculous. I mean, I'm sorry, but you have more important things to do than quibble and quabble about this little irresponsible stuff.
Mr. Walsh.
John Walsh, blogging at HollywoodHighlands.org or J. Walsh Confidential, tweeting at Hollywood Dems. There's nothing more important than celebrating the life. This is not a joke. Oscar Romero was a great man, and he fought the drug dealers and the scum that was running El Salvador. Thank God that just last week, the right-wingers have been thrown out of El Salvador. Now we have a centrist government. Oscar Romero was assassinated by the right-wing army because he fought against drug dealing on children in El Salvador, or as they call it, Salvador. I don't know where this L came, because I never met a Central American who referred to where their country as El Salvador. They refer to it as, Salvador incidentally means crucifix. I think we should have a monument for Oscar Romero, because no community is more ill-served than the El Salvadoran community in this city, which continues to grow. There's nobody representing it on the city council. They ran somebody for city council last year, and that person lost. He was murdered. He was shot to death. Look, you prove to me that you're an honest politician, and of course all archbishops are politicians. You prove me you're an honest politician when you're assassinated, just like the Kennedys were assassinated. He was a great man, and I thank you. The Day of Remembrance is important. Don't forget him. HollywoodHighlands.org.
That completes the public comment. No speakers on the queue. Open the roll. Close the roll. Tabulate the vote.
11 ayes.
11 ayes. Next item.
Mr. President, that is the only item in the special meeting. Do you wish to adjourn the special meeting and return to the regular?
Yes. Regular meeting.
And that brings council to items called special.
Special by cards. Let's do number 4, please. Read it into the record.
Item number 4 is a communication from the mayor relative to the appointment of Councilmember Curran Price to the Los Angeles Memorial Coliseum Commission.
Item number 4, Mr. Walsh, followed by Mr. Herman, Mr. Sachs, Mr. Murphy.
John Walsh, blogging at HollywoodHighlands.org, J. Walsh Confidential, at Hollywood Dems. This concerns the Los Angeles Memorial Commission. Chief Parks did a fairly good job when he was there. He leaked a lot of damaging information to the media, to the LA Times, which printed it. As far as Council Member Curran Price, we have hope that you will fill the shoes of Mr. Parks. We know you care about this neighborhood, unlike some garbage up here about their own neighborhoods, because you recently got rid of Times Square Liquor Store, which is at 42nd Street and Broadway. Your predecessor had shielded that business, so that's very near the Coliseum. You're interested in keeping and of course it was out of control with drugs, prostitution in the area at the liquor store. It's not there anymore. Jan kept it there for 5 or 6 years because she was paid off. So we have Mr. Price hasn't proven himself yet to the community, but we're hopeful that when he gets on there that he will be a voice for the memorial to the Los Angeles Memorial Coliseum community, which is more than they don't give a the white people on that commission don't give a damn about the neighborhood. HollywoodHighlands.org.
Next speaker, please.
Angelinos, we're here to consider the appointment of Councilman Mr. Price for the Los Angeles Memorial Coliseum Commission. But as you heard, and I won't reiterate what Mr. Walsh says, in a minority community such as anywhere near the Coliseum, how will this city be represented by Mr. Price? And how will he reflect the positive interest of what this council sets to do when we continue to wait for a football team in the Coliseum? There is no need for us to outrageously spend on a new Memorial Coliseum. So you, Mr. Price, Commissioner Price at this point, since now you are stepped away from your seat, you must consider the importance of every constituent that wishes to sit in the arena. The grandeur of the Coliseum in its heydays should reflect what is wanted by the public today. For public interest is not about incurring a deficit or saying that we can build a new stadium when we don't need a new stadium, but let's rehabilitate and keep the historical Coliseum intact, in place, so that taxpayers are not bamboozled by a commission that reflects negativity to all you Angelenos. Every person in Los Angeles has a right to sit in the Coliseum and participate in any and every event. So thank you for the laughter on this side of the horseshoe, Mr. Fuentes. But again, Mr. Price, do your best and reflect in best interest of the public.
Sachs. Yes, thank you. Good morning still, Arnold Sachs. Coliseum Commission, after what's happened, and as we heard, Mr. Parks leading the way with leaking information to the media, not really doing anything about and taking that information and running with the ball, just leaking information to the media. You know, we have a saying at the county, BFD. But the county has remade the Coliseum Commission anyway. And so since the state and the county have sold out the rights to parking and all kinds of facilities to USC, what exactly will the Coliseum Commission be left to do? Sweep up the aisles in the Coliseum? What impact will they have on the Museum of Natural History that's there with the new exhibit of the Space Shuttle? There's a demand for parking. And who owns the parking now? USC. Isn't that amazing? It's fascinating. Now you're going to come in and talk about the Coliseum and all the things to be done. It's already been done. And with the commission that sits at the Coliseum, they even got an award from the Board of Supervisors a couple of weeks ago for their fine work dealing with all the troubles. And you think, how could there be troubles when they were dealing with 3 supervisors, the salt of the earth? But then you think, well, the Rose Bowl just finished their renovations, and the Coliseum is where on its renovations? They haven't even gotten a plan. Sounds like Metro. Study, 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 wash, rinse, repeat. Mr. Murphy.
Yeah, the Memorial Coliseum, I went to an event when the Knights of Columbus had an event there. The bleachers were so uncomfortable. Mr. Price, kind of look into refurbishing get better bleachers.
That completes the public comment. No speakers on the queue. Let's open the roll, close the roll, tabulate the vote.
11 ayes.
Next item.
Item 5, call special for cards.
Mr. Murphy. Yes. Mr. Sachs is gone. Mr. Walsh, followed by Mr. Herman.
Residents of Los Angeles, it's a good adoption to have for ourselves a rent escrow account program. Why? Because it satisfies the accomplishment of removing inhabitable housing throughout every community in Los Angeles. So let's keep rent escrow going, because I'm sure many of you today realize that many of our old, unfurbished, rundown rental units need cleaning up, and there's no better way to remove an eyesore than to keep the rent escrow account program going. Thank you.
Mr. Walsh.
John Walsh, blogging at HollywoodHighlands.org. J. Walsh Confidential tweeting at Hollywood Dems. These are the properties where the landlord has not cured the violations and inside the unit, and now they're not paying the rent to the landlord. The tenants are paying it to you, the city. Let's see, North Coldwater Canyon, North Tyrone Avenue, South Manhattan Avenue, two of them at South Manhattan Avenue, East 51st Street, West of 71st Street. See, most of these, of course, the slumlords are in minority neighborhoods. South Crenshaw, South 2nd Avenue, West Monroe Street. Keep up the good work. I don't need 2 minutes. HollywoodHighlands.org. And I'm not going back there for the free buffet. I'm staying in here.
Arnold Sachs. Yes, thank you again, Arnold Sachs. And again, the minutia of the city council business as it attends to this light work after the presentations. It's a use of manpower. It has always become a use of manpower. On March 18th, 2014, the LA budget chief urges thrift. Garcetti must come up with a strategy for eliminating a shortfall estimated at $242 million. Now, this rent escrow is money that's deposited into the city's general fund. Would it not be better served to take that personnel that's doing the inspections and start to do something about the foreclosure plan that the city council enacted? We hear that you're doing such a wonderful job with this rent escrow. How's your standing with the foreclosure plan that city council enacted to go after derelict homes that are in foreclosure? How many homes have been cited at $1,000 a day? Guess between 0 and 1. And if you guess 1, you're wrong. That's pretty good standing. So you have a $642 million budget deficit, and you have a program where you could collect maybe $1,000 a day, 10 homes, 1 home in each district per day, $15,000 a day. Add that up and see what kind of a dent that would put in your city budget. But we got services to cut because we got a $242,000, but you're doing a fine job. Look into the rent escrow. Or excuse me, the lease. Comment on this item that completes comment. Let's open the roll, close the roll, tabulate the vote.
11 ayes.
Next item.
Item 6, call special for cards.
2 cards, Mr. Walsh, Mr. Sachs.
John Walsh, blogging at HollywoodHighlands.org. This, again, is nuisance abatement. That means non-compliance of code violations. This concerns a $1,500 nuisance abatement at West Roscoe Boulevard. We like to see more and more of these nuisance abatements. Again, you do a better job than other cities on nuisance abatement that I'm aware of. HollywoodHighlands.org.
Mr. Sachs.
Yes, thank you again, Arnold Sachs. Maybe you could change the logo that you have on the LAPD patrol cars that states "to protect and to serve" to "we do a good job on nuisance abatement." That's more catching. at $187,000 or $181,000 for the city council pay per year, you ought to do something for nuisance abatement. I remember a gentleman came up here and mentioned he's got a citation for graffiti on his building. And it was a rental. Do you have a nuisance abatement portion of the law that deals with commercial buildings? I never really see too many commercial. Are there any at one time commercial buildings that appear on these nuisance abatement programs?
Complete. No other cards. Let's open the roll. Close the roll. Tabulate the vote.
11 ayes.
11 ayes. Next item, Madam Clerk.
Mr. President, that brings council to general public comment.
And Mr. Sachs, general public comment, you're first. All right, Sean Murphy's first. Here we go, Sean.
Want to wish you a happy belated St. Patrick's Day. You guys were in recess last week. I want to thank Mr. Krikorian for fixing Burbank Boulevard and Laurel Canyon, right and left. We have been waiting for years. St. Charles is getting ready for its dedication 3 weeks from Thursday, 5:30 p.m. Mass. Oh, Roger Mahoney's going to say the Mass. Thank you.
Mr. Sachs.
Yes, thank you. Good morning again, Arnold Sachs. And there really is a lot to talk about, but I was really struck by a couple of news articles in the newspaper. Setback for Jordan Downs. I remember when that item appeared before the city council, all this rehabilitation. A $30 million federal grant was turned down that's going to come to the city. And what's fascinating here is our spectacular councilwoman, Janice Hahn, is very angry. She said it's the second time the city has been turned down. Got turned down for the Promise Zone, which was a grant of funding for school zones. And what's fascinating about that, this is from 1/8/14, poor areas to receive special aid. The designation gives selected cities preferential status for federal grants. But in 1/10/18, according to the city's application, which did not include any part of the South LA funding, would go towards increasing affordable housing, investing in public transit, and bike lanes. Well, it wasn't included. That's why they never got the money. So what the heck was Janice Hahn doing in Washington? As much as she did here at City Council. But setback for Jordan Downs. You know, a couple of years ago when redevelopment was taken away, then Mayor Villaraigosa mentioned this magic number, $900 million of redevelopment funding. Never heard that number again. Where'd the money go? So let's say he's out of his mind. Let's just say $600 million. $600 million in redevelopment money. Where did the money go? $30 million. They have a grant for $212 million, and this is going to set the program back. This is accounting by idiots.
John Walsh, followed by Mr. Barajas.
John Walsh, blogging at HollywoodHighlands.org. These flowers are $100 gifts each from the Persian community. Don't forget, the school in America with the largest number of Persian children would be Beverly High, and you 100% want to tunnel under Beverly High. And the school board at Beverly Hills is suing you on behalf of the Persians, and so is the city council. So that's what you really think of Persians. Okay. Restricting access, John Schwada has asked me to come here, he doesn't have the balls to do it himself, and talk about restricted access by those credentialed press people to pass this barrier and into the official room in the back, for the press room in the back. From now on, Herb Wesson has decreed you must have an office here to access. This means about 100, 150 press people who even have credentials are not going to be allowed in here. This is what has happened here. First, you got rid of us, and the press people didn't say a damn thing. Now, you're going to get rid of the press. So you can just sit in the back and jerk off all you want with the lobbyists. And that is what you want to do. And maybe I would suggest that one of the journalists do a Lewinsky thing on Herb Wesson, and maybe he'll let you in the back room. Because other than that, you have no chance. In other words, they are now treating credentialed press people like public commenters. They want it all up here. They want the fascism. And incidentally, I got a pack of cigarettes for Herb Wesson. The more you smoke, the less we'll have to see you.
All right. Now, over the last weeks or so, I should probably state that the Senate, Harry Reid, with Dianne Feinstein, with her breaking of CIA, basically illegal actions in domestic affairs, what that means is Obama is on his way out. This is illegal. This is treason. Harry Reid notes the magnitude of this situation, and people are awakening to the fact that World War III, as Linda LaRouche has stated, is basically here. Now, the battle is between the American people and that of a controlled information society. The fact is, we have Nazis running our government, Nazis running in Ukraine, supported by this Nazi government. And the problem is that Americans have to deal with the fact we need to impeach Obama. The breakthrough with Keisha Rogers' campaign in Texas for Senate, and now Michael Steger's against Nancy Pelosi, this means that the policies of FDR, John F. Kennedy, will be restored. This includes thermonuclear fusion, water, and also exploration of the universe. We do live on Earth, but we have a lot that has to be done. But then the problem comes in with the will of the people. I keep referring to the will of the people because it is the people that created this country. We have a constitution, and we have to exert it.
Harriet Elliott.
I spoke on the 18th, and I'm so glad you're still here. I was directing my comments toward you, Mr. Wesson, and I have 5 letters that are from L.A. Can, all addressed to you, and they want you to close my son's case so that we can look at the homicide report, the whole file. The file is about an inch thick. It's over there in the closed case file, right over there where the Carl's Jr.'s used to be, okay, in the discovery unit, okay? And we just I need to look at the file. I need to see what happened. Now, here, these are all addressed to you, and I'm going to hand it to you. Also, my transcripts are in there, so I wish someone would come over here and just hand it to Mr. Wesson.
Yeah, Sergeant, please assist Miss Elliott. Thank you, Miss Elliott.
Yeah, thank you. But I want one more thing. I have a little thing. Gloria Molina dealt with the sheriffs on the 11th, and I liked so much how she dealt with them. It was funny. The sheriffs did not want her to see the homicide report, okay? Now, they have very good reasoning. They sound very logical. They say, if we show you the homicide report and we let it open, our sheriffs will be fired. Well, it's illegal to fire an officer for that case, but they will be fired in the future. Now, Gloria Molina, she kept at them the whole time. It was like 20 or 30 minutes. It was item 5 on the agenda, and she even said, I have to hire a lawyer in order to look at these homicide reports. Now, I know this is a problem in my son's case, okay? Whatever my son did when he was younger, he was a good kid when he died, okay?
God bless
I hope
his
you
memory.
realize it.
Thank you.
Thank you
Andrew
so much.
Preston. Andrew.
Good afternoon, honorable members of the City Council, Assistant President Pro Tempore Labange. I'm with the Historical Society of Southern California, and I would like to invite all of you to a holiday celebration which is absolutely unique to Los Angeles. I believe I had the pleasure of speaking to Councilmember Labange the other day briefly, and it's going to be at Lummis House. I'm not sure if you're all familiar with Lummis House, but old Charlie Lummis built that beautiful old adobe off the 110 freeway, and he would collar every great musician, every great artist, every great politician, everyone, and he'd drag them off to El Alisal, and they would have music and conversation and food. And the biggest of these was the March Hares, which was his birthday party. We started that again last year. It was a great success. We had music that is unique to that place, music that sort of runs with the land, composers, the founder of the Hollywood Bowl, I believe, who lived in Councilmember Labange's district. Charles Cadman, we had music by him. This year we are going to have, we're going to have a song written by Charlie Lummis himself with Cadman. We're going to have a concert-level soprano. We have 2 concert-level pianists from the Thornton School. We're going to have a folk musician, and in the tradition, well, many other things, and in the tradition of it, we're going to have the obligatory Hassan Pfeffer, Charlie Lummis' own recipe, and I believe that Patricia Lummis will be there as well. It's at 4 o'clock on March 30th, and I hope all of you can attend. One thing that was missing last year, Charlie always had politicians at these things, and we need some politicians.
Got it. What you do is give us an invitation, give it to the sergeant, we'll pass it around. Thank you so much.
I will return when there's a fuller council with official invitations.
All right, thank you.
Thank you very much.
Sarah McGinnis here. Please come forward. Maria McGinnis. Maura, sorry, Maura.
You're not the first to do that. My name's Maura McGinnis. I live in Mr. O'Farrell's district, and I have worked in Mr. Weezar's district. And the common item that brings me here between those 2 districts is our ficus trees, which I love and think are beautiful. And sadly, I had one that I thought I was maintaining 5 years ago. I replaced all my sewer lines. I placed my lateral lines to a point that cost me about $23,000. But I couldn't get to this last section, which is connected to the city sewer. In the rains and through the world that we live in, it collapsed. I am replacing it now. I have gotten to the city sewer. I've gone through the city and have replaced part of the sewer connection as well. The tally right now for me, a single working mom, 1 voter in this city, is $32,000. It's a bit overwhelming, so I have detailed this to Mr. O'Farrell's office through emails. His field deputy was kind enough to come out and has seen the tragedy that is the ditch in my backyard. And I'm just coming and asking for help. I don't know how to go forward or who to talk to or how to handle this. And I certainly do not stay away from my responsibility, but I just don't know where to go.
Ms. McGinnis, go right over to the ropes, right over on the side where the sergeant is, and Mr. O'Farrell's fine deputy will be there to assist you.
Fantastic. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Good to see you.
Mr. Cooper. Mr. Cooper here. Mr. Armando.
Ralph M. Brown Act, Cure and Correct 54950 to 54963. The people of the state of California do not yield their sovereignty to the agencies for which you serve them. Why? For the people in delegating authority do not give the public servants the right to decide what is good in our best interest. For the people to know, and what is not good for them to know is not good. In point, we the people insist on remaining informed so that they or we will and maintain control of this podium over the local agencies that created by our state and federal statute. How dare you, racists, remove me the other day for using a tape recorder in communicating. Discrimination, discrimination, you biased, prejudiced monsters. To hear the discuss and deliberation of or take the action of any item that we, the public, speak about. Alleging a violation of this chapter have been taken in violation of this section 54960.1b. Deprive the public the right to cure and correct. That it will cease, it will desist and not repeat. For your action, I have already placed Mr. Herman on your side there as I speak. Herman? Yes. What you did was a violation of my rights, Herman. And those of you who represent this horseshoe are violating the rights of every person in the city of Los Angeles. Public issues.
Thank you. I'll talk to you. Thank you very much. Mike, is Mike here from the Taxi Cabber Association? Michael Mannion, not here. Mr. Harrison here.
Sifu Kelvin Berman Harrison, relative of Dion Ward, disciple of Grandmaster Kim Tae Chong, film star and Grandmaster of Tak Moon Hong, and disciple of Grandmaster Yit Jae. For the record, addressing the President of the United States, Queen Elizabeth, also the Democrats and bipartisans, and my martial arts teachers and all nationalities I have studied under since I was a teenager in the NAACP National Organization and the Congressional Black Caucus. Honorable ones, Grandmaster Carter Wong, one of my Kung Fu teachers, one for over 30 years. Grandmaster Carter Wong, you knew for many years of police harassment and setups and infidelity and corruption upon me and my daughter by multicultural citizens of San Luis Obispo. My ex-wife's covert racist tactics and corruption and law enforcement, certain officers, and racial attacks upon me and my daughter. Why didn't you help me and my daughter when I was sending you daily faxes through Grandmaster Chechi Chiang in Chinatown, Los Angeles for approximately 2 years daily from San Luis Obispo? You never sent me allies, reinforcements, or legal representation. I represent you 100% in San Luis Obispo, Grandmaster Carter Wong, and I loved you, and my daughter loved you as well. There was countless assassination attempts on my life by certain law enforcement and by certain individuals in San Luis Obispo. You did nothing. Extreme distress and psychological trauma and mistrust in me by my daughter because she loved you, she trusted in you, and I trusted in you, and I needed help, and I did not get it. I have to publicly denounce you as one of my teachers, Grandmaster Carter Wong, and I'm also denouncing as being your disciple, as well as I've been disciple of many other teachers before you. And I will continue this next time. Thank you for the record.
Thank you. There's no other public comment cards. Madam Clerk, what's before us?
Council has motions for posting and referral.
So ordered.
That clears the desk.
Any announcements, members? Just want to announce myself, as you know, today's the first day, full day of spring, so let's spring into action and continue to serve the city well. Mr. Krikorian.
Thank you, Mr. President. I guess it's an announcement. I just wanted to take a moment to thank two outstanding USC students, Brittany Mello and Tianmin Lee, who have spent the week with me as externs here. They're from the Price Office of Career Services externship program and have been doing an excellent job for me, and I know they're going to go on to do big things, so I wanted to thank them. I also wanted to take a moment to announce, as many of you know, my Chief of Staff Irina Bernosian and his wife, my assistant and scheduler Sarah Bernosian, have been expecting a baby. And on March 19th, Stella Nina Ibranosian was born. She's 6 pounds, 4 ounces, 19 and a half inches, and absolutely gorgeous. So I just wanted to wish the best to the Ibranosian family.
Thank you very much. Any other announcements? We do have a special announcement. Where's the Sergeant of Arms? Officer, would you come to the front here, podium here? You got to fix this, Steve. Right here. Thank you very much. And is a box still here? Because we need that paperwork for the sergeants. And Sergeant, could you deliver that for us? Would you for us there? Officer Morris, we thank you. We rise to thank you. Today's your birthday. As a member of the Los Angeles Police Department and the longest-serving Sergeant of Arms, we thank you. Good job. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Officer Morris. Happy birthday to you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Members, real quick, everybody jump around the sergeant. You're going to get a picture. This is a good shot if we could right now before we all leave. Just real quick, we do journey motions, but that's a great shot. All the service he gives. Please, I will. Paul, please center table, Paul. Mitch, Nuri.
Thank you, sir. Appreciate it. Thank you. Okay. Get 2 minutes of public comment.
Okay, Officer Steve Morris, thank you very much. Members, at this time, we have adjourning motions. Please all rise for adjourning motions. On adjourning motions, Mr. Wesson.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. President and members. I stand to adjourn in the memory of a phenomenal human being, just a great lady who for many years lived in the district that I represent, and she, a few years back, moved into Mr. Parks's district. I'm referring to O.V. Smith. O.V. in a couple of weeks on April 2nd would have been 100 years old. She committed herself to helping those with disabilities. I would have several meetings with her at her house on Oxford. She'd be cutting the nails of her clients. She took them to church every Sunday. They did morning walks at 6 a.m. and here's this little lady with her clients and a big stick to drive the dogs away. She helped pass legislation very close to African-American elected officials. I don't think any of us have ever been elected without her blessing. She was a pistol. She drove her. They tried to take her car keys away. She found them and whenever she would leave my office, I could hear the screech marks as she would speed off. But she was a phenomenal lady. Her services will be held tomorrow, so I just want to officially. in her wall, on her wall, she had a selected group of African American electeds and Kennedy and a few others, and I'm proud that I was on that wall. So if we could adjourn in the memory of O.V. Smith.
Thank you very much. This side, members. Members, I ask we adjourn in memory of Dean Dill, a great coach, great educator, John Marshall High School, lived a good life, a graduate of USC, quarterback the Trojans back in the late 40s. Dean Dill. Let's continue to serve the city well and thank all those who do serve the city and help the people of Los Angeles enjoy the great city of Angels. Have a great weekend, everybody. Thank you.